Nino Brown Boxing. I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Quick video, and I know I'm late to the party, but fuck it, I'm gonna talk about it anyway. It was about a week or so ago, and Errol Spence was on the All the Smoke podcast. Definitely a good podcast. I suggest checking it out if you haven't already. But basically, it's the podcast. Errol Spence, he discussed a lot of different things. He discussed how the car accident has affected him going forward in his life and in his career. He spoke about the weight gain that he was having in between fights. He mentioned in certain fights that he could have been a lot more effective and a lot more successful, but majority of his training camp was due to cutting weight. And right now, he's staying consistent with his training. He's staying on top of things. You know, he's putting himself in a position where he doesn't have to have any dramatic weight cuts in order to make the 147 mark going into fights. So he's locked in. He's ready to go. Now, with that being said, Errol Spence Jr., he also said prime for prime, he feels that he beats Floyd Mayweather. And I have zero problem with that. First of all, Floyd Mayweather was an active fighter when Errol Spence was an active fighter. And to me, it only makes sense for Errol Spence Jr. to feel that he can beat Floyd Mayweather. It's not as if this question was about Errol Spence and Sugar Ray Robinson, someone where it would have been absolutely impossible for him to step in the ring with as a pro. It wasn't like a current heavyweight talking about Muhammad Ali. Floyd Mayweather is very much so still floating around out here in this boxing world, and he was active when Errol Spence was a professional fighter. So if Errol Spence feels that he can beat Floyd prime for prime, I don't have a problem with it. Now, I understand that it's subjective. You ask different people feel different ways. I feel like a lot of people are swayed just by the marketing of Floyd Mayweather and his undefeated record. I just had to take, like, looking at this, I had to take things into consideration. One being the size difference. Now, some people will say, well, you know, Floyd skill this and skill that. Well, the statement was prime for prime. Now, the first question that has to be answered is, when was Floyd Mayweather in his prime? Some people would say 2005 Floyd Mayweather. Some people would say 2007. Some people would say Money Mayweather when he had his Showtime deal. That part, I'm not sure of. But let's just go with the two sides of it. The Floyd Mayweather that had his Showtime deal, he was definitely on the down portion of his career. I mean, if we just look at the number of fights that he had remaining versus prior to him facing Oscar De La Hoya when he was, back in 07, you know, he was undefeated. He was a younger guy. He was faster. He still had his legs. But my big thing when it came to Floyd Mayweather is, well, when it comes to this overall prime for prime discussion, my thing is the weight classes. And I went back and I looked at Floyd Mayweather's opponents. And it's a limited amount of opponents that Floyd Mayweather faced that were career welterweights. And I mean, it's a small pool, an extremely small pool of guys that started their career at welterweight, and when Floyd Mayweather got in the ring with them, they were also welterweights. Now, when I look back on this, I noticed none of those guys were elite fighters when Floyd Mayweather stepped in the ring with them. And that's no disrespect to those particular guys. I noted their names down. I don't feel like going back and check, but we can always go fact check it. It's a limited pool of guys. We all know Cotto, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley. All of those guys came from lower weight classes. Now, when you have a guy like Errol Spence Jr., and we're talking prime for prime, so a lot of people feel that the earlier Floyd Mayweather that freshly entered in 147, or a lot of people believe that Floyd Mayweather at 140 was in his prime. Prime for prime, I feel like just physically, And just due to pure size, that's the thing that would make the biggest difference. I feel like Errol Spence definitely has an opportunity for his advantages, and so does Floyd Mayweather. But obviously, it's a fictional fight. You can never rewind time and get Floyd Mayweather in his prime and put him in the ring with Errol Spence right now. So I just want to factor in that weight classes make a difference. You have a Floyd Mayweather that's already small for welterweight, and then you have an Errol Spence Jr. currently, what I believe to be his prime, has the potential to move up to 160 pounds and be successful later on in his career. With that being said, the folks out here that make it seem like it's absolutely ridiculous for Errol Spence to feel that he can beat Floyd Mayweather prime for prime, please factor in the weight. Please factor in that Floyd Mayweather was not a career welterweight, and he was small for the division at the time that he reigned. And while he was at the top of his game, Floyd Mayweather has not faced an elite career welterweight. And it is what it is. When it comes to whoever you think wins, I understand it can go either way. I have no problem with that. But to jump to the conclusion that Errol Spence is completely out of his mind for what he believes about himself, I feel like that's not fair to do. That's not a fair thing to do to Errol Spence Jr. But that's just my take on the guys. It's Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC, and I'm out.